Okay, hi folks. I'm going to discuss two subjects. I have to stay within the boards. Again, I hope you see it clearly. If not, you can ask me on singingpreacher@live.nl. I'm going to do this in English. And also for the Dutch people, the most people in Holland speak English. And so I'm going to test my English again on you and practice my English on you again. And okay, well, the first subject has got all to do with the Earth. Actually both subjects, but in the first case the whole Earth as being a subject, and then we're going to look closer at again the subject of sediments. I found some new scientific evidence from university research sources about sediments, and I'm going to show you that what they claim they actually found, but we're going to see that based on scientific facts and based on scientific findings that the Earth cannot be billions of years old, because that's not the case, and I'm going to show you with scientific facts that it is so. Okay, this first series will be discussed again from this book. We discussed it before, but I found something new from which I found very interesting. And the guy who wrote it is a certain kind of Julian Swinger from the scientific library Natuur en Techniek, Nature and Technology, and this has been translated like before from the book Einstein's Legacy, The Unity of Space and Time, first published in the United States by W.H. Freeman and Company, published by Scientific American Books Incorporation, Inc. Here in Holland it is distributed by Natuur en Techniek in Maastricht, Brussels, and a translation was done by Dr. P.J.M. van Bentum, redactie, how do you say that in English? Redaction, I don't know. The guys who are and responsible for the production of putting this on paper. I don't know how to call it in English. Okay. Help me if you can with that. Dr. Anders T.J. Kortbeek, and the scientific guidance in this whole matter is Professor Dr. R.T. van de Walle. Wow, we're impressed. Well, okay, the scientific, I don't say that this is all wrong, but the scientific findings exclude a long age of the Earth. Well, we discussed it before. This subject, I will use it again, and I have shown it here on the board about the rotation of the Earth. That because of the friction of the water on the Earth and the tidal effects of the sun and the moon and the other planets on that water, the Earth rotation loses energy, and about 1/600th of a second per century, reducing the days, hours to about 3 hours if you calculate it back to 4.5 billion years ago. Well, if that's true, and they found it, it's measured, so that fact is scientifically measured. Yeah. That brings long time thinkers in a big problem, and I'm going to discuss it right here. So I'm going to use that fact. And the next thing is what I found remarkable, and I'm going to use that as well, is that this is on chapter 4, page 127. It is about mass. One feature they name is that if the Earth is rotating as it is, as we all know, it's also scientific facts, you can see that every day, the Earth is rotating, but what happens to a rotating ball which is partly liquid and a little bit like an egg? I mean, the internal thing is liquid and the outside is a flexible shell. Yeah. Well, what happens then? A sphere or a ball like that, a sphere like that, will be squeezed in the poles and be bulging out in the equator thing. Well, I'm going to use that because nowadays that bulging out is about 20 kilometers in the equator. The equator is 20 kilometers. The radius is 20 kilometers bigger than on the poles. So, which creates a gravitational effect. The gravitation is less at the equator than in the poles because the average, the distance to the center of the mass is different. And that creates problems if you have in account that the days, like it was shown here, have been shorter in the past. And there was water for about billions of years on this earth. Otherwise, according to evolutionists, life could not evolve 3 billion years ago. And it started raining about 4 billion years ago, according to long-term thinkers. Well, okay, if that's so, then you have a problem. Then the Earth spins a lot faster. Yeah? And not only that, but even if there was no water, even then the Earth would spin faster, because also the crust is subdued to tidal effects from the Moon and the Sun and the other planets. Yeah. So the Moon, the crust is flexible and is dissipating energy because of tidal effects caused by the Sun and the Moon and the other planets. Okay. So anyhow, the days must have been shorter. Left way, with water or without water, the days should have been shorter. But okay, the water helps a lot, apparently. And it rained for billions of years on this earth, so about 4 billion years minimum. Yeah, that's what evolutionists apparently say. Well, okay, if that happens, and I have to be honest, I don't think it happened, because I don't think that the earth is so old. But if it happens, according to evolution thinking and Big Bang thinking and billions of years thinking wise, then the bulging out would be bigger. And that's what I'm going to discuss here, because I'll read this first. So it's page 126 in the Dutch version. I don't know whether it is in the American version. I don't know, but it's chapter 4 about gravitational things. Gravitation. Gravitation, a matter of gewicht, mass, a matter of weight. Nice picture of David Scott on the moon. No? Okay. That looks nice altogether. But I'm going to read a little part, and where shall I start? Where they're talking about they're talking about mass, and when the scientists began to discover what mass is, and it was in the 1800 somethings, they had gravitational mass and inertial mass, and they had to show that they were actually the same, one and the same. This is what this chapter is about, and so they wanted to find out whether the initial mass and the gravitational mass, inertial mass and the gravitational mass were exactly the same. And one baron, how do you say baron in duke, I think, duke or something, Roland von Eötvös. He performed an experiment with a torsion balance, in which Lord Cavendish measured also the weight of the Earth and the density of the Earth.